Hi guys, I'm Sally and I am the Nursing Director at Xodos Aesthetics. So we are a skin and laser and beauty clinic at Aston Wood Golf Club. One of the things we've been looking at a lot this week is laser hair removal, and that's one of the main treatments that we started with. We've been doing it for quite a few years now, and we use the amazing Soprano Ice laser hair removal platform. It is the only laser hair removal system that is genuinely pain-free. We do have to advertise it as or virtually pain-free, because just very occasionally you will get a little one hair follicle that absorbs a lot of heat and you get a little zap. But generally, if you're talking to me and telling me how the treatment's going and making sure it's not too warm as we're treating you, there is genuinely no need for it to be painful at all. So I have had, I think we just lost you there slightly, my apologies. I think we're back. People have been sending me a few questions, things they want to know. I've written a few notes down because there are often questions that I get asked very regularly. So my apologies, we are having a problem with connection here. I don't know why that's not normal. Our Wi-Fi is obviously having a Friday afternoon moment. Can't blame it, to be fair. I will be posting this again at the end, so if there's anything you think you've missed, please do pop back in and check it a bit later on. So one of the key questions that I get is it permanent? The answer is yes, but with lots of explanation to do behind that. So with each treatment of laser hair removal, we are permanently destroying hair follicles. And the hair follicle is the bit that the hair grows out of, and without the growth mechanism and the little blood supply to that hair follicle, the hair can't grow. So the way that it works is the pigment in the hair follicle itself actually heats up, and that heat heats up to a temperature that is high enough to destroy that growth mechanism and the little blood supply to the hair follicle, and it destroys that. However, with each treatment, there's only a certain percentage of hairs in any given area that are in what we call growth phase. And growth phase is the phase where the hair is long, it's all the way to the bottom of the hair follicle, there is plenty of pigment in there. It's also quite a basic analogy of what it looks like, but the hair is fully grown and there is plenty of pigment in there. That pigment is what's needed to cause the result. So if you are in different stages of growth, there are words like anagen, telogen, catagen, and those kind of things, which are different phases of growth. And in fact, let me show you. I can show you a picture here. So it's probably back to front because, in fact, let's go. So this is the phase of hair growth that we want it in. As the hair is in new growth phase, so it's just starting to grow, as you can see, if you think yellow is pigment, there isn't very much of it, so therefore there is not going to be enough heat generated to cause our result. If you have hair in active growth phase, this is what we're aiming to do. So this little blood supply and the growth mechanism within here is damaged, and that's the phase that we want to catch it in. Because not all of the hairs are in that phase, all of the hairs themselves will be treated and fall out with each treatment, but not all of the hair follicles will be permanently destroyed. So with each cycle, with each treatment, you are permanently destroying a certain amount of hair follicles and damaging others, and all of the hair itself will fall out. So say we did somebody's legs, for example, within 2 weeks all of the hair on that leg will fall out and you'll be left with no hair in the area for a couple of weeks, and then the next cycle comes through, and with each treatment we're destroying around 20% of the hairs that are in that growth cycle at that point in time. So hopefully that kind of explains why we need to do more than one treatment. So you get to a point, and I would recommend a minimum of 8 treatments usually, because that gives around a 70 to 80% permanent reduction in hair growth in the area, and the hair that does come back tends to be fairer and finer, so what comes back is less kind of coarse and obvious as you move forward. So a course of 8 treatments does give you a very good starting point. Some people want to have more than that, and facial hair can also be a little bit more difficult to treat. You have lots more potential hair follicles on your face than you have on the rest of your body, so your body can be going, oh, there's one I haven't used yet, and there's one I haven't used yet, and you're very hormonally driven to putting hair in certain places, with the face being very stubborn one, particularly for women who have sort of hormonal issues, either perimenopause, post-pregnancy, polycystic ovaries and all those things that impact on hair growth on the face, there is lots of opportunity for the body to keep putting hair back. So it's something we manage, and we can still get very good results, but be prepared for a minimum of 8 treatments and possibly more, and possibly top up. So if you get a little hormonal fluctuation, the body might respond by putting hair back in an area that we've previously had very good results in, and it just might need a couple of top ups moving forwards. The next question I get asked an awful lot is, does it hurt? And the answer to that is, with the Soprano Ice, no it doesn't. It is the only genuinely pain-free laser treatment out there. There are some other new ones coming through that are comfortable, but this genuinely isn't painful. As I said at the beginning, occasionally you might get a little zap, little prickle if one hair follicle heats up quite a lot, but as long as you are saying to me, it's getting a bit warm now, or it's getting a little bit prickly, then we can adjust that temperature. People do worry that if I'm turning the temperature down that it's going to be less effective, and that's just not the case. With the Soprano, what happens is if you reduce the temperature, the timer on the clock goes up. And so what that means is that although it's treating it at a cooler temperature, you treat for longer. So the same amount of energy will go into those hair follicles, and so hopefully you will still get the same result. We can keep putting that energy through. We're not going to burn your skin. Because of the way the laser works, you're doing a gradual increase of heat into an area to increase that energy slowly and gradually and gently, so you're not kind of hitting that heat in too quickly, you're not heating the skin up. The diode that we use to treat the skin, this part of it here is cooled. It's got an ice cooling system, so the surface of the skin stays cool throughout the treatment phase. So we can keep putting energy in to warm up those hair follicles and get them to the right temperature without burning the skin. This is particularly important with darker skin tones. If you overheat dark skin tones, obviously you can cause burning. You can actually, I've seen, if you Google, IPL and laser burns, you can see some really horrible sites where the skin has been overheated, and you can leave burns and marks, and at the very least you can leave pigmentation. Darker skin tones are more prone to that pigmentation. With the Soprano, we can reduce that temperature right down, but you can keep going over the same area, which you can't do with other types of laser. The ones that deliver the energy in single shots means you have to bring the temperature down so you don't burn the skin, so you're not necessarily going to get as efficient results. Whereas with this, we can keep going over the same area, keep loading that energy in to make sure you get enough energy in to actually destroy those hair follicles. So you can get much, much better results by doing that. We do actually also have a system whereby if we have fine and fair hair, we can actually use an IPL system, which is also cooled, to move some, just very, very occasionally I have somebody with sort of slightly blonder, fairer hair, usually only on top lips that I do this for, and sometimes we use that just to nudge forward if this isn't quite doing it. Now normally this does 97-98% of our laser hair removal, but we do have options for other hair types as well, just in case we need to nudge things forward a little bit. But this is the best system that we use here all of the time. We've said about facial hair. The other problem we have quite often with facial hair is the issue of it going grey. The natural course of ageing means that we lose the pigment in some of our hair follicles. We obviously get that on our heads and on the hairs on our faces as well. The difficulty with grey hair is that won't respond to any laser treatments at all, because there is no pigment in that hair to treat. And I have women come to me who have maybe sort of 20-30% of the hair is grey, and they say, is it worth starting treating? And depending on how much there is, obviously the answer often is yes, because if you don't treat it now, all of that hair will eventually go grey, and you'll have as much as you've got now, but it'll all be grey and there will be nothing you can do about it. So quite often what I will say is anything up to probably 40% grey or white, it's worth the investment to start treating. Over that, you're not necessarily going to get the value for money that I would like you to have, and that's a conversation to have on an individual basis. But anything less than 40% white, it is still worth progressing that treatment, because you can still really reduce the physical amount of hair that is there, and therefore the fewer that are left that can then go grey later on. As I said, facial hair can be a bit tricky. It's very much an individual case-by-case basis with that. So top-ups, so say you've had your course of 8, maybe with some areas, particularly face, you've had a course of 8 and maybe a top-up block of 4 to get you to a point where you are reasonably happy with the results. What do you need to do then? Well, basically, if you are still coming in at around the 4 to 6 weeks for facial hair and 6 to 8 weeks for body hair, and we're still in those time gaps and it isn't slowing down, so there may be less hair there, but we're still needing to treat at those gaps, and again we'll be assessing you at each appointment for that. But if you are still needing to come in at 4 weeks or 6 weeks, chances are it's worth doing some more straight away. It is worth doing it early and getting better results in the shorter term. People who kind of pop in and have the odd treatment here and there don't get the results. It's not the way I like to treat people. I would like to be more sort of upfront about, okay, well, expect to need this many treatments, and then from there we can assess whether you just come back for the odd top up. Some people, like bikini lines for example, a little bit of a hormonal area. I might get a call once a year before a holiday from people who want a bikini top up before they go away, for example. Faces, sometimes it's worth pursuing immediately, and then call me when you need a top up. Quite often I'll see people every sort of 3 to 6 months for a top up on the face, and maybe sort of 6 months to annually for other body areas. And sometimes that they get longer term results that they really don't need to come back either at all or not very often. So it's very individual. Everybody's different. Everybody's hormones are different. So just sort of talk to us, let us advise you, and kind of get the best course of action for you individually. The other question I've had today, do I charge for consultations? No, I don't. I think it's really important that everybody who comes and books for treatment knows exactly what it is they're embarking on before they start. So all the advice that we give is completely free with no obligation to book. We do take a deposit. We like to confirm those appointments. We like to know that person is committed to coming in. But if you arrive and you decide not to go ahead, that deposit will be refunded to you, or you can offset it against treatment. It's entirely up to you how you want to do that. But there isn't any obligation to book, and that's for all of the treatments we do here. Our initial consultations are confirmed with a deposit, but ultimately they are free of charge because we want you to have the opportunity to ask all the questions that you need. Intimate laser hair removal. Somebody messaged, they PM'd me this one, so I won't use names, but can we do intimate laser hair removal? Yes, we can. Part of the beauty of the Soprano is it is pain-free, and that is for men and women as well. So we can do Hollywood bikinis, which for those of you who don't know the term is everything. A Brazilian is everything but a neat little kind of triangle or strip at the front for women. And for men, again, we can treat the whole area. We can treat perianal as well, so that's round the back. People are a bit concerned about sort of dignity, and it's a little bit embarrassing, and that's fine, and we understand that. We are as discreet as we can be. We keep as much covered up throughout a treatment as we can, but ultimately we can do a good treatment on that, and we will always sort of do as thorough treatment as we can for you, despite it being a sort of slightly uncomfortable area for people. After the first couple of treatments, people get used to coming in and having that done, and I do more Hollywood bikini treatments than kind of tidy ups because it's our most popular. People have more of that than anything else. I'm the registered nurse here, and I will do all of the treatments in those areas. For men, I think it's important that that discretion is kept, and it's always been me, and it will always be me, that treats male intimate areas for laser hair removal. So again, any questions on that, you can always PM me, and I can sort of have a chat about that before you commit to anything. Everybody has to have a patch test on all areas that they're having treated. This is an insurance thing. Some people I would want to patch test more robustly if there's any concern about response and hair colour. So if I think, I'm not sure what sort of result we're going to get on you, let's do a really robust patch test and bring you back for a review before I commit you to treatment. But from a safety point of view, although I know that this is a very safe treatment, I've never had anybody with any major side effects. Local redness is considered a normal side effect, but even that is pretty rare. It's pretty unusual to get even that with any of our treatments. So, but all areas have to be patch tested, and again, it's a good opportunity for you to come and talk to me, to actually experience the treatment for yourself. So if you were having sort of legs, underarm and bikini, for example, we would do a small patch on each of those areas. You can go away and see what happens. If you don't want to commit straight away, and you will see that over a couple of weeks the hair in those areas falls out, so you can actually see the sort of result that you're going to get, and that's quite a nice way to do it. So and like I said, all of those initial consultations would be free of charge. And we mentioned about men. We can also do sort of things like backs, chests, arms, and all sorts of areas, buttocks, lots of different areas that men want treating as well. And they don't necessarily know it's out there. I get quite a lot of inquiries from men asking for waxing. We do waxing, obviously, but when you actually mention to them that we can do it as a more permanent treatment and it's not going to hurt, because waxing is obviously a lot more painful, then actually that can be a really, really good treatment for the guys, because they don't want to sort of commit too many times in the year. So 8 treatments down the line, probably most of what they want to get rid of has gone, and then it's done. And it's done for their holidays. A lot of guys that come to us use the gym regularly, so actually it's a really brilliant treatment for men. Nice and quick, full back, 20 minutes probably, and as long as they've shaved it for us before they come in. So again, ask us for consultations on those areas. And the last thing, the other question obviously we get is how much does it cost? What's the price? And it's very dependent on area, on how many you want to have, whether you want to take on one of our packages. Our minimum pricing for any area is £45 a session, and we do block booking discounts as well. What we have introduced for 2019 is some package prices. So this would, for example, be if you wanted to commit to legs, underarm, bikini, that is an upfront reduced price package cost for those areas. There's no option of payment plans on those. There's no option of pay as you go on those. We do have pay as you go and payment plan prices for them on our standard pricing structure, but for 2019 we do have those package prices. We do have options to pay less but up front, so come and have a chat with us about those, and we've got packages for men and women as well, and some of them are a little bit interchangeable. Our sort of the package that we've got at the top of the list for 2019 is one I haven't done before. I always recommend 8 treatments, and that because that is the minimum that you're going to need. But if people want to commit to a lot of areas but don't know where to start, or don't want to commit to too much in one go, we have actually got a package for 4 treatments initially for all body areas. So we're looking at legs, underarms, bikini and arms. Arms we could swap out for facial treatment if you decided you'd prefer to swap that one out. And for 4 treatments, and I know that Emma's watching, if I get this price wrong she'll correct me, but I believe for 4 treatments it's £1,250, and that is for what is effectively full body. So come and have a chat about that, just to get, it's a good starter one. 4 treatments gets you quite a way down the line, and then you can decide how you want to pay the rest as you go, whether you want to do it as pay as you go, whether you want to commit to an 8 to keep going and get some even better results. So there's lots of things we can do, lots of ways to pay. As I said, just normal standard pay as you go on our pricing, and as I said, we can arrange package prices and payment plans if you decide that you want to go like that. So I'm conscious that this has jumped out quite a few times, so if you've missed anything, I am going to post this and you'll be able to go back and have another look at it. If anybody has any questions, post them on this thread or PM them to me if you don't want to go public, and watch out for some more stuff coming up soon. We'll be putting some more laser hair removal videos out as well, and hopefully we'll see all of you in the clinic very soon. Nice to see you. We'll see you again soon. Bye.